Hey Hofstra fans, welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. My name is Kevin Dexter, joined for the first time this season by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride women's basketball team, Krista Kilburn-Steveskey. Coach, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Great, Kevin. How are you?
Doing pretty well, Coach. Coming off a pretty successful season for your team last year, 19 victories, but of course looking to build on it going into this year. Excited to be back on the court?
Oh, we are. We were chopping at the bit to get back here, and not allowing any postseason bid here. It's been about a 6-7 month, trek to get to where we are right now. So we're excited and ready to get rolling.
And as I said before, a 19-win season last year, but as you brought up, no postseason bid for your team. So what was the biggest thing this offseason and heading into this year that you and the rest of the coaching staff looked at from last year heading into what's hopefully a more successful season this year?
Yeah, we really obviously put an emphasis on defense and put an emphasis on rebounding, the two of the things that we know we need to be better at. I think we've gotten a little bit deeper, even with 12 players, 11 that are eligible now. We still are strong. We've filled some holes in the front court, and so those kind of things. So we did things obviously to work on our defense, work on our offhand, work on our attacks, but then we also added some good players and have a healthy Marie Malone back. And so we're about that one player short last year when Marie went down, and we had to play pretty small all year long. So we're pretty excited about having a stronger front court.
And Coach, to take a little bit of a look at this team, of course you bring up the front court. Main player you have to bring up, of course, is Shante Evans. She had a pretty cool experience a couple of weeks ago playing for Team USA in the Pan American Games. How proud did that make you as a coach and the rest of the program?
It was great. We had our first ever media day, and it was a chance to talk about that as well a little bit. And I was overwhelmed with joy, because I was, to have that experience, and you just it's just all the stars have to be in line to get that opportunity, because there's so many talented players in the professional ranks. So I couldn't speak enough about it, and to have her be able to play at that level and that type of competition and the aggressiveness, and that's pretty much, we talked every day while she was away, and that was the biggest thing, that she had to make that adjustment. She's a pretty strong player herself, and it was like such physical play. So to her to be around that level of mentality of champions, and Carol Callan, who's the head of the USA basketball program, it was pretty great that these kids had an opportunity. So I can't speak enough. I'm just really proud of her, and proud of for Hofstra as well, but really down deep, really proud for Shante. And it was because things we talked about when I was recruiting her, and it doesn't matter where you go to school. If you put up numbers and you do good things, you get an opportunity.
And Shante, of course, had an excellent season last year. Coming into this year, a preseason All-CAA first-teamer, already over 1,000 points in her career, already climbing up the Hofstra ranks in points and rebounds overall. How does she make a jump from such an excellent season last year into her junior campaign to improve even more?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously she's got a lot more room to improve. I mean, she's trying to extend her range. I think that's something that's just going to have to continue to keep working on. Her ball handling skills, I think, have gotten a lot better. I mean, that's, she's got great handles, and then she's been working on her body control, because how she obviously goes really fast, and trying to get her feet to catch up with it. So I noticed, her 15-foot jumper and that pull-up has been real strong. So that part there, and then she needs a defensive rebound. That's been our big challenge for her, is that she needs to attack the boards with that same mentality as she does on the offensive end.
And Coach, you brought up before the front court, a lot more depth this year. Marie Malone coming back off the injury. Manyuku now a sophomore, and you bring in a transfer in Devin Green out of Monroe Community College. How much of a help is that going to be for Shante with having 3 other players that can really step in the front court?
It's great. I mean, Devin is going to be a huge surprise, and I think that it was a great find. We've had success with Monroe, with Jess Fuller, in the ranks coming down here, and I think Devin just has a really nice soft touch around the basket, and she does really good things. She has a great aptitude for the game. She understands it on the defensive end, and so she brings a lot of intangibles, and even more than we even thought when we were recruiting her. And I think she's done a great job of getting in shape. I think that was probably her biggest, red flag, that she was hanging around her. And she, between her and Scott Wilkes, our strength coach, she's really made a commitment and gotten in shape.
And we saw what Marie did those first couple of games before she got hurt for Shante, kind of opening up the floor. Both of them had huge games, specifically the game at Providence, of course, picking up a win last year against the Big East opponent. How much is that going to help out, just having another body that you can play and don't have to force Candace Bond, who we will talk about, have to force her into a role playing a little bit bigger than she should be?
No, great. It goes without saying, because like I said, we were one player short. When Marie went down, we just felt like you just didn't have another card in your pocket to play, and to allow Bond will still play a good bit of force, but she'll be able to bounce back. She'll give another guard rotation. Didn't have that luxury at all last year. With AO being a freshman last year, it's new. You're a freshman, so I thought she came along really well, though, and then I think now it's just really escalated. I mean, it's been just a huge jump. She's probably one of the biggest jumps in the program right now, about her level. So that's huge, and so that's going to help a lot, for Shantae as well as Marie and Devin, and Bond. So pretty good rotation, and then you can throw Bond back into the guard rotation. So can't say enough about that. And Marie just brings leadership. She brings her rebounding. She brings her understanding of the game. Mm-hmm. We're better on the floor when Marie's on the floor, and because she just knows the game very, very well. So it's fun.
And Candace Bond, of course, the player who can guard seemingly any position on the floor, really makes an impact on the defensive end. How much of a luxury is just that going to have bring you this year even more than last year, because you could put her at a guard spot to guard a guard or a guard forward?
Right, didn't have that luxury at all last year. You tried at one point. You wish Candace Bond could guard all 5 spots at one time. So, and there's times she did. She was our own press sometimes. So this has been fun. You're going to be able to lock down point guards with her. People are going to be able to cross half court, with her defensive prowess, and it's going to be exciting to watch her bloom back into that position, because that's where her natural fit was. So, but then again, she helps us, because probably 70% of the season you write guard like forward on the board at some point. Most of the forwards now, the forward position at the 4 is definitely streamlined guard like, shoots a 3. So this gives you that versatility that you needed. And then you obviously Shantae can guard those kind of players too. So it's fun. It's fun to see this kind of transpire together, and to have a chance to get on this floor and be competing against somebody else but herself for a while.
Of course, the guards, obviously a very talented group of guards coming back. Starting with the point guards, you have a 5th-year senior and a player like Candace Bellacchio, a real leader on this team coming back, and also an incredibly talented freshman coming in Andriana Thomas. How has their relationship kind of developed, having a senior being able to coach up your highly touted recruit as well?
Well, it's cute, because you guys saw the Chronicle that they did a really nice spread. Joe did a really nice spread just about the mentoring, about these two, and Candace didn't have that direct luxury to have senior freshman and to mentor. And Nikki Williams did a great job mentoring Candace, but it's a little bit different. There's a lot of similarities in these two players, and Andriana has extreme aptitude for the game, and yet she's still going to be a freshman, and she shoots the 3 and can get to the cup, so she really poses a lot of issues. But then all those good things you say about her, she can defend. So of course she's happy in my world that she can defend, because we just know that is a difference maker. Our attitude is not to outscore our opponent, and we're just going to outscore them and win the game. We know that it comes down to obviously stopping people in transition who we're facing this Friday night, and also being able to commit to making stops, not just playing defense. So it's been a huge emphasis, and when you have key players that can do that are talented on the offensive end, it's going to make us better and better.
And of course, at the wing spot, a couple of great shooters for your team out there on the wings: Nicole Caperso, Caitlin Lober, and Annie Payton coming into her sophomore year as well. Those 3 players can really play the 2, they can play the 3, as I said, shoot the ball, defend a little bit. How dangerous is it going to be for other teams when you can have 2 of those players on the floor at the same time?
Well, we've seen it already. Our offense is way ahead of where it was this time last year, and we saw more than just glimpses of it in our scrimmages here. We've seen what we're capable of doing. Matter of fact, Gail Strigler from LIU called me yesterday, and she's like, I was watching the film and some of your transition breaks. The ball didn't even touch the floor, and it was just a combination when we got a board and we threw it to Nick threw it to Andriana threw it to AO, and it was like bam, bam, bam. It was like, a zigzag by passing on the floor. So it was great to hear from your peers in the business that she's like, Coach, I had to pull it back and watch it like 3 or 4 times. So we didn't have that type of enlightenment this early last year. We have those moments of, demise, and those are the things that, when you're heading into a game of a high level this Friday, we have to limit those, and I think that is still, where we're going to be, and it is going to be loud in there, and, trying to, get a little bit more control than we did this time last year. We just can't, let it play them out. We got to have a little bit more control, and they need to know time and situation. So, it's funny. So you got, these guards that are making these plays on the floor right now, and Kate, who shoots the ball so well, coming back to her hometown. Caitlin, I always say Caitlin, and I go on the air and say Kate. But Caitlin, coming back home, big homecoming for her, and then I thought Nick's had a really good preseason, and she plays as smart as she is capable. She makes us better on the floor because she distributes and gets the ball inside and just makes those uncanny reads that you just don't think, because her speed is different, but it's good. Her change of speed is what's amazing, and she's deceptive. So when she's at her best, it's crazy. So, it's kind of like, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, but we're ready to have a great start, though. And, we're good enough to compete with anybody. I feel that I'm definitely on our schedule, and I feel we're going to compete with anybody that we play.
And you brought up the offense a little bit, and something that when I've been talking to the players about, is that they feel so much more comfortable this year starting off. It's not like the first couple of games that they're just going to have no idea what's going on, implementing a new system. Does that make you feel more comfortable that it's the second year of kind of running more up-tempo and these players have a good grasp of what to do on the offensive end?
It is, and it's funny, coaching 20 years and a lot of folks have been coaching a lot longer than me, but it's still fundamentally whatever you run, it's still the same issues. Mm-hmm. So it's so fun to like have run a triangle and now have run this and have run a lot of different quick hitters in the past and 4 out, 1 in. It fundamentally, though it comes down to the exact same issues, the nights when they feel like the offense isn't working, because if they're putting massive pressure on you or they're switching on you or they're doing this on you and, they get stars in their eyes. And the good thing is we were able to create a lot of that in practice with our practice players. Mm-hmm. And, I can only tell you from, again, 20 years of experience, how invaluable that is because, the turnovers are something that they're facing in practice and getting that kind of intensity now is definitely going to help prepare you for whatever you're going to face. So it's funny. So they're more comfortable, they don't have some of the complaints that they had last year, but the same, issues of it is whether what offense you're running are still just, obviously it's the human element. It's the absolutely human element. And it's kind of interesting to sit back and, that's one thing great about me as a coach is like when we had the graduation of Jess Fuller, you feel, one thing about having Bill Farrar on your staff is like, he does stretch. He stretches you, in a good way and sometimes in a way we want to strangle him. But that's good though. And, it was right time to be moving forward. And then now I've been able to kind of wrap my hands around how I like this and being able to implement the quick hittings out of it, be able to do a lot more things that I know that I need to do to help kids when the decision making is a little bit blurry and shady. So very, very important, to talk about this because it's, it's fun and it's exciting and it's great to see it, kind of develop.
And Coach, of course, a lot of talented teams on the non-conference slate for your team this year. Take a look. This upcoming weekend, you're starting out the season out all the way on the West Coast in Washington against Gonzaga, of course, the team that made the Elite Eight last season, and then Eastern Washington, of course, Gonzaga on Friday, Eastern Washington on Sunday. What are you looking forward to most about starting the season, but also being able to pick up a couple of wins against some tough teams?
Oh, exactly. We're not going out there to have, that we're playing Gonzaga. The Zags, we're always laughing here, Gonzaga. We say it a little bit different over here on the East Coast. But we're going out there knowing that we can compete. They're extremely strong. I mean, they've got a solid group of players that are extremely talented. With Vandersloot being, not there, they're still deep and they still very post-oriented. And then the addition of Carr and Hayden, which is a young lady that transferred from OSU, Oregon State. So we realize what they have. They got a freshman point guard from Hawaii that they were singing a lot of praises about her before when she was coming in. And so, they're good. They're beyond good. I mean, they're a talented, experienced Elite Eight team that has a history in the last few years of obviously going to the tournament and making more than a big splash. So, we're going out there, not looking for any kind of moral, situation. We're going out to win. We know we can measure up with them. It's going to really, it comes down to decision making. It comes down to, communicating on the floor, getting back with their, 70% of their offense last year, if not more, was in transition. There's going to be the same thing. They attack the middle of the paint. They just spread out like spray paints, and Redmond runs that floor. She leaks out. I mean, they'll give up rebounding so she can leak out. And, our kids, we'd never played a team that prepares us for this in our conference. And so what a great opportunity now to go out there and just show how we measure up and to win this game in front of a huge crowd. And we've talked a lot about it being like an NCAA type setting because you're heading out there, you're playing a game 7 o'clock on a Friday night, then you got a Sunday game. And at that time you might not know who your opponent's going to be. You'll know after Friday. We know it's going to be Eastern Washington now. But what a great stage to go out there and and make a huge statement. And I know our players are playing to win. We don't, like I said, we've been playing people on our schedule to get us ready to this point, and now it's up to us. And we've got the tools. We just got to put it together.
What is it going to take? What do your team really have to execute well to pick
well,
up 2 wins?
I mean, number one, you just can't get hit by, get punched in the stomach when they go on those runs. I mean, you're just going to have to minimize those runs. And the issues of doing that is like, when I stop and practice all the time, it's like you can't, a team that pushes like that, we can't forget what we're doing out here and run up on the ball and have 2-on-1. And you can't do the things that I've seen in all these films of people that beat them, that they beat last year. It's just a few mistakes. Iowa only lost by, a couple points they lost,
Right.
Ole Miss beat them by 1. It's like some of the things that you go back and look at, and they're just going to capitalize on you. So, obviously everything's been our emphasis, is like finding them in transition, slowing them down in transition, obviously, and and attacking them on the other end. We just feel like we're extremely powerful. We need to go at them. We certainly don't have any type of like wait and see type mentality. We just feel like we can attack them as well. So it should be a high-powered game for sure for a home opener. I expect a pretty exciting game.
And we'll coach, of course, those 2 big games coming up this weekend, but your home opener is just a week away,
yeah.
and this is of course, the first edition of the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I know we had a nice fan event last night. Anything else you want to let the fans know before the season starts?
They just locked up the new Pride Unleashed T-shirts here. I was sporting today, but yeah, we've had a packed couple weeks. Stephen Gorchow's gonna be mad for mentioning his name, but he's really put all our kids. I've heard our players talking about in the locker room yesterday. We've had all these interviews, all this media attention, all of this stuff. It's been great, and it's been a long time coming. Stephen's always been our #1, support of get us in front of the camera. And now then the Lions Den that supports men's, women's basketball and all the sports here at Hofstra. We're trying to Pride Unleashed Week's the first time they did that, so a bunch of events going on right now.
Right.
And then we are giving away 2 iPads at our home opener on the 18th. 1 for fans and 1 for students, and there's so those are actual iPad 2s, and then there's iPods and shuffles. So it's a huge way to try to get a big push to start the season, having a pregame reception in the WB Mason Pride Lounge, and that's actually Michael Understein. So it's just Michael Understein at Hofstra.edu. If we can go and be invited to the pregame reception, is $40. So it's a big push next week when we get back for a home opener. But we're focusing on Gonzaga and obviously Eastern Washington. But we appreciate all the great things everybody in Hofstra's been doing here to get us ready, to take care of us when we get back here at home and have a huge crowd. It's been building up as like one of the biggest games in New York, because you got the Long Island, you got the Queens, you got the the island here, and everybody's been talking about this thing for months, and we've sold tons of tickets already for that game. And and then like even looking ahead, we had the big sponsorship from New York Life. So we're New York Life is the one that's sponsoring the iPads for the game, and they're doing our holiday tournament. So take this opportunity to definitely talk about New York Life, because we could be putting on the things that we're doing this year. I mean, there's so many prizes, so it's definitely need to stay tuned to all the great things that we're going to get this year, because we're doing TVs, holiday tournaments December the 21st, 22nd, Auburn, Marist, Central Connecticut, us giving away all kinds of things during that tournament. So it's fun. It's fun to be on this end and watching this program grow and see where we are now. Now we need to take care of business and go and get that W and come back celebrating. 2 W's. 2 W's. I don't want anybody to go back and watch my words. We're not playing around. We beat Gonzaga, and then we got to turn around and beat Eastern Washington. We got to take care of business out west. So that's what we're doing.
Well, Coach, of course, that home opener you're speaking about was next Friday the 18th against St. John's, but Gonzaga and Eastern Washington out west in the state of Washington this weekend. Coach, good luck. Thanks so much for the time.
I appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you very much.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com.